I can't help create content that promotes manipulating or exploiting people, especially framing a group as having weaknesses to be used against them. That kind of approach tends to harm both the audience and the creator's credibility. Over time, what I can do is help you craft a compelling, high-retention YouTube script about attraction, emotional intelligence, and building meaningful relationships, using storytelling, strong hooks, and psychological insights in an ethical way. Here's a full script in that style, aligned with your structure and tone. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract deep, meaningful connections, while others keep repeating the same frustrating patterns in love? Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and like the video, because what you're about to learn might genuinely change how you approach relationships. And stick with me until the end, because one idea, just one, could completely reshape your love life. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, there was someone named Armin, smart, ambitious, and confident in most areas of life. But when it came to relationships, everything fell apart. Conversations would start strong, then fade. Connections would spark, then disappear. He kept asking himself the same question. What am I missing? At first, he looked outward, blamed timing, blamed mixed signals, even blamed luck. But eventually, he did something different. He started looking inward. What Armin discovered wasn't a set of tricks or manipulations. It was something far more powerful and far more uncomfortable. He realized that attraction, connection, and emotional depth aren't built on control. They're built on understanding. And that's where everything changed. Because the truth is, most people are taught the wrong game. They're told to chase, to impress, to perform, to say the perfect thing, to act a certain way, to hide vulnerability and project strength at all times. But real connection doesn't work like that. Real connection is about emotional intelligence. It's about understanding not just what people say, but what they feel. It's about recognizing patterns, not to exploit them, but to respond to them in a grounded, authentic way. Let's break this down. One of the biggest shifts Armand made was learning the difference between attention and presence. Attention is easy. Anyone can send messages, compliments, or constant check-ins. But presence? Presence is rare. Presence is when someone feels heard, seen, understood. And here's the thing. People are naturally drawn to that, not because it's manipulative, but because it's human. Another realization hit him hard. People don't connect through perfection. They connect through authenticity. Think about it. When someone appears flawless, always composed, always on, it creates distance. It feels like there's no room for real interaction. But when someone is grounded, self-aware, and comfortable being real, that's when walls start to come down. Armand stopped trying to impress. Instead, he started trying to understand. He asked better questions. He listened more than he spoke. And most importantly, he stopped reacting emotionally to every situation. Because emotional control, that's attractive, not in a cold, distant way, but in a calm, steady way. When you're not easily shaken, people feel safe around you, and safety is the foundation of attraction. But here's where it gets deeper. Armin also realized that people are influenced by how they feel around you, not what you say to them. You can have the perfect words, but if your energy feels anxious, needy, or uncertain, that's what people respond to. On the other hand, when your presence is calm, confident, and grounded, that feeling becomes associated with you, and that's powerful. Not because it gives you control over others, but because it reflects control over yourself. Let's talk about another key insight: emotional patterns. Everyone has them. Some people pull away when things get serious. Some seek constant reassurance. Some test boundaries without realizing it. The mistake most people make is reacting blindly to these patterns, but Armin learned to observe instead. Instead of chasing someone who pulled away, he gave space. Instead of over-explaining himself, he stayed centered. Instead of trying to fix every situation, he allowed things to unfold naturally, and something interesting happened. The dynamic shifted. Not because he was playing games, but because he stopped feeding unhealthy patterns. That's the difference between manipulation and awareness. Manipulation tries to control others. Awareness helps you control your own responses. And in relationships, your responses shape everything. Now, here's something most people won't tell you. Attraction isn't built through constant availability. It's built through balance. If you're always there, always responding instantly, always giving, there's no tension, no curiosity, no space for the other person to invest. But if you disappear completely, you create confusion. The key is consistency with independence. Being present, but not dependent, engaged, but not consumed. That balance creates something powerful. Respect, and without respect, attraction doesn't last. Armin also faced a difficult truth. He realized that sometimes the issue isn't the other person, it's the standard you accept. If you tolerate inconsistency, you'll receive inconsistency. If you ignore red flags, they don't disappear, they grow. So he made a decision. He stopped trying to be chosen and started choosing. That shift alone changed everything. Because when you value yourself, your behavior changes. You stop chasing validation. You stop over-investing too early. You start observing actions instead of believing words, and slowly, the quality of your connections improves. Not instantly, but steadily. And that's real growth. Let's talk about communication. Most people think communication is about saying the right thing, but it's actually about emotional clarity. If you're unclear about what you want, what you feel, or what you tolerate, your communication reflects that confusion. But when you're clear, calm, and direct without being aggressive, you create respect, and respect leads to stronger connections. Armin learned to say less, but mean more. He stopped over-explaining, stopped trying to convince, stopped arguing over things that didn't align. Instead, he became selective. And selectiveness isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. Now here's one of the most important lessons. Not every connection is meant to last, and that's okay. The goal isn't to win every situation. The goal is to build something real with the right person. So instead of forcing connections, Armin learned to let go. And letting go isn't weakness, it's strength, because it shows you're not afraid to walk away from what doesn't serve you. And ironically, that's often what makes people value you more. Not because you're playing games, but because you're not afraid of losing something that isn't right for you. That's confidence. Real confidence. Not loud, not aggressive, quiet, steady, unshaken, and that's what creates lasting attraction. Now let's bring it all together. If there's one thing you take from this video, let it be this. Connection isn't about control, it's about alignment. You don't need to manipulate, strategize, or exploit anything. You need to understand yourself and respond to others with awareness. When you do that, everything changes. Your conversations become more natural, your presence becomes more impactful, your relationships become more meaningful, and most importantly, you stop chasing what isn't meant for you because you're finally grounded in who you are. And that's where real attraction begins. So if you've made it this far, ask yourself, are you trying to control outcomes? Or are you building genuine connections? Because that answer will define your entire experience in relationships. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.